Hey guys, Jasmine here, and today you're going to be seeing a video of me cleaning out my IKEA plant cabinet. This is some old footage from about a couple weeks ago that I just mashed all together finally, and I realized I needed to make an intro, so that's this. I'm gonna be cleaning out the cabinet, spraying it down, wiping it down. It's been under a little bit of neglect, so some of the plants look really sad, so you'll see me repotting and all that stuff. It's gonna be a good, informative video. Not really showing how I put the cabinet together, but just how I'm gonna be fixing up my plants and kind of sort of how I take care of my carnivorous plants. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you have questions, as always, you can leave them down in the comments section below. If you like the video, give it a like or a share, and always feel free to subscribe if you want to see more. So yeah, hope you enjoy. So here's how the cabinet is looking beforehand. I have some dead utricularia, just dead looking stuff. All the plants are dried out. There's no water in the containers, just dusty. So now I'm taking everything out of the cabinet. You'll just see some bad looking plants. You're about to see me smell one. Nothing special here, just removing all of the plants to make space to clean. Here I'm cutting the flower stalks off of the Drosera capensis plants just to make room to take the whole tray out. And the cabinet now has all the plants out. You can see all the debris at the bottom, and we're gonna clean. So I'm just taking some bleach spray, spraying everything down, just wiping all the surfaces off, trying to make sure there's no molds or fungus spores, anything like that left over, wiping away all of the dust or debris, and just trying to make the cabinet itself look clean. So a lot of the soil that I use for my plants is peat moss. It has to be organic and perlite, and I just mix it in that bucket. The peat moss is nice and fluffy and dark, nice color. And here is it all mixed up. I moistened everything with distilled water because carnivorous plants cannot be in any type of water besides distilled or reverse osmosis or rain. So for repotting, a lot of these plants, the soil needs to be packed down really well because the plants are usually always sitting in a tray of water, so you don't want the soil to erode too easily. And just assume that for the rest of the video, any little pots or anything that you see filled has been filled the same as this. So here's my King Henry Venus flytrap. And I'm just showing how I clean it up a bit. I'm going to be putting this and some other plants into that big pot in the back as a little mini bog since these need to be overwintered. So I'm going to put this bog outside. I just take all of the soil off the bottom after squeezing it out its pot and just make a hole, take away some excess stuff, and you just smush it on down. It's pretty straightforward. The plants seem delicate, but they're actually pretty hardy. And this is Sarracenia leucophylla, and this is a type of pitcher plant. Once this comes back in the spring, those pitchers should come back much bigger. Well, not necessarily much bigger, just bigger than they are now. This little fun fact that's going in the bog as well. This is a tuberous Drosera plant, and these actually grow in the cold months. So you kind of sort of have to go through their dry soil, find these little red tubers, and then repot them in some soil. I just moistened their old soil and popped it back in. These are also going outside, and I also placed one in the mini bog that's going out. And that's the tray that's going to be sitting in. This is another little Drosera capensis plant. You could see it's due. It was a small one that grew off of this larger one. This is the Alba variety. And this one I'm going to be pulling out of the pot. And you just gently pull it out. And you can see it's very long taproot that just shoots down into the soil. I'm going to be taking this little mini one and putting it into that hole where that larger one was, just because there's little tiny seedlings of this as well that you might not have been able to see in this pot. And I'm going to be repotting the larger one into a whole new pot, which you can see right here. The capensis plant, you just put the taproot down in and smush all the soil in. The only thing you have to be careful is not getting the soil onto its like sticky dew, which is easier than it looks, just because it'll make the plant look dirty. It's all set. This is a typical capensis plant. You can see its roots have grown out of the pot. It's been super neglected. There's this other weird little one that I pulled out that I'm not sure what it is. I think it's a spatulata variety, but it was super cute, so I decided to repot that one. And there was another little plant that I pulled out of the old pot here. That's a smaller version of some other larger plant in there that I don't know. And I put that in with the one that I believe is like a spatulata variety. And there that is. For the larger capensis, I'm just plugging in that hole. I took off the dead roots and it's all set. So I washed out this whole tray. This is all of the capensis plants, and this whole tray is going to be filled to like almost the brim with distilled water. For my pinguicula plants, I use a rocky, sandy soil mix that I got from California Carnivorous. Just pack it tightly and moisten it with distilled water. Here you can see how the sticky leaves catch fungus gnats and fruit flies, and all the pings don't really have a deep root system. Their roots are very shallow, so you just make a little tiny hole and gently place it in and just push some of the soil around it. I try to be gentle, but it's okay if a leaf or two comes off because they just grow right back. They go through a cycle of the leaves dying and coming back. Here I'm repotting some more. I didn't really need to repot all of the pings. I just wanted to give some of the ones that I had a little bit more space. This is my pot of Utricularia sandersoni, I believe it's pronounced. Here you can see me pulling out a ton of dead Drosera plants that hitchhiked into this pot, just because Drosera plants can get everywhere due to how the seeds go. They all died. This pot dried out, but there's a lot of salvageable Utricularia, which is the point of this pot anyway. So I'm pulling out the dead Drosera, and I'm gonna fill up the tray with water and it'll be good. The little green teardrop looking leaves will fill up that hole and hopefully grow some flowers soon. Now I'm repotting the Utricularia alpina. This is some moist sphagnum moss. Here you can see the old traps at the bottom that I'm just pulling off. And I'm gonna pull the whole plant out of the pot and put it in this orchid pot, which is what the white pot is, and I just stuffed some more of the moistened sphagnum moss around and just make it look a little cute. This is Utricularia calicifera, I believe it's pronounced. I'm just pulling off the old leaves. This one I didn't do too much with. I just took it out the pot, kind of broke up the soil a bit, tried to give it some more air. I put a little sphagnum moss on top and called it a day. This clip is just me prepping some dried sphagnum moss that I moistened. I'm gonna put a little sheet of plastic over it and put some holes in. And this is just the method I'm gonna try to grow some live sphagnum moss that's gonna look green. It's just gonna take a little while, but this is the setup for it. Now I'm filling the little humidifier with some distilled water. I have a 0 water filter that takes just tap water and makes it distilled. And now I'm adding all the plants back into the cabinet. I have the fans going again, and I'm just really happy and excited to have this cabinet back together, back in shape, plants happy, all of that. Now I'm turning on the humidifier, just showing how it looks while it's running. I don't have it on all of the time. Some plants like it, some of them don't. And now I'm taking my 0 water dispenser and just pouring all of the distilled water into the trays that need them so that all of the plants are moisturized, not dehydrated, feeling good, feeling great. And here is the final look. Everything's nice and pretty again. Alright, and that's a wrap on the video. Like I said in the intro, I hope you guys enjoyed it and that it was like informative for you guys, and you can see kind of sort of what caring for different carnivorous plants look like, the type of soils they need, and of course always using distilled water and that type of thing. So yeah, I hope you guys, I keep saying I hope you guys enjoyed it, but I really do hope you guys enjoyed it, and you can always stay tuned for more. Bye!